Hi everyone, welcome to this Japanese lesson. Today we're going to be learning about numbers and telling time. So let's start out with the numbers 1 through 10. Listen and repeat after me. Ichi, ni, san. And there are actually two different words for the number 4. We can say yon or shi. Go, roku. And once again, there are two different words for 7. We can say nana or shichi. Hachi. And again, there are two different words for 9. We can say kyu or ku. Ju. So that was 1 through 10. Feel free to go back over those and run through them a few more times if you'd like. And next we're going to be tackling 11 through 20. Now, 11 through 19 is actually pretty simple. We just take ju, our word for 10, and we combine it with one of our numbers from ichi to kyu. So let's take a look. Juichi, Juni, Jusan, Juyon or Jushi, Jugo, Juroku, Junana or Jushichi, Juhachi, Jukyu or Juku, Niju. And notice that our word for 20 is just our word for 2, ni, followed by our word for 10, ju, because it's literally 2 sets of 10. And now we're going to take a look at the numbers 30 through 100. Now, numbers 30 through 90 follow the same pattern as 20 did. So 20, we took 2 and 10 and put them together. We're going to do something similar for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. Let's take a look. Sanju, Yonju, or Shiju, Goju, Rokuju, Nanaju, or Shichiju, Hachiju, Kyuju, or Kuju, Hyaku. So now that we've covered our numbers from 1 to 100, we're going to look at how to tell time in Japanese. If we want to ask what time it is, we can say, Ima nanji desu ka? This means, what time is it? Or, more specifically, what time is it now in Japanese? One more time, that is, Ima nanji desu ka? And let's take a quick look at the breakdown of each of the words in this sentence. First, we have ima. Ima just simply means now. Nan, as we've discussed before, means what. Ji means time or hour. Des, as we've discussed, is our Japanese word for to be. It can be translated as is, am, or are, depending on the situation. And ka is our question particle. Putting it at the end of a sentence denotes that the sentence is a question. If we want to ask what time something is going to take place, we can use the format blank wa nanji desu ka. So for example, if we said Kimiko no party wa nanji desu ka, that would mean what time is Kimiko's party? So let's go over how we would say each hour in Japanese. First, ichiji. Niji. Sanji. Yoji. And notice that it is yoji, not yonji. This is the one instance in which we don't actually use the whole word for 4 when we talk about 4 o'clock. Goji. Rokuji. Shichiji. And notice that we use shichi, not nana, for this one. Hachiji. Kuji. And notice again, we use ku, not kyu. Juji. Juichiji. And finally, Juniji. All right, now that we've learned each hour, we're going to practice looking at a clock and telling time. So, as we learned earlier, if we want to ask what time it is, we can say, Ima nanji desu ka? Now, in this case, looking at this clock, it looks like it is 3 o'clock on the dot. So if someone were to ask us, Ima nanji desu ka? We could respond, Sanji desu. Now, let's take a look at some more times. This time, I'm not going to show you the answer right away. I'm going to want you to look at the clock, and I want you to figure out what time it is and say it in Japanese. Now, feel free to pause the video if you need a little more time to think it over. Ima nanji desu ka? Goji desu. Ima nanji desu ka? Kuji desu. Ima nanji desu ka? Rokuji desu. So now we know how to talk about time when it falls right on the hour, but what about 30 minutes past the hour? Well, we can talk about the half hour by adding han to the end of a time. So for example, 10:30 would be juji han. Now, let's practice this with some other times. Again, you're going to take a look at the clock, and I want you to try saying what time it is. Ima nanji desu ka? Shichiji han desu. Ima nanji desu ka? 11時半です。今何時ですか？2時半です。So now we know how to talk about time on the hour or half past the hour. But what about AM and PM? Well, in Japanese, gozen is AM and gogo is PM. We can put either of those before a time to state whether it's AM or PM. So for example, 9 o'clock AM would be gozen kuji. 4:30 PM would be gogo yoji han. Ima nanji desu ka? 午前10時半です。今何時ですか？午後12時半です。Finally, if we want to talk about approximate time, we can put goro at the end of a time. So for example, let's say it's around 2:30 a.m. In Japanese, we could say gozen nijihan goro. All right, so let's try a few more times using everything we've learned so far. 今何時ですか？午後1時頃です。今何時ですか？午前4時半頃です。And that's it for this lesson. I'll see you in the next one. Ja, mata.